The first letter came from a luxury furniture store I'd never heard of, thanking me for my $12,000 custom sofa order. I, Chloe, a 25-year-old library assistant, owned a second-hand IKEA couch. My blood ran cold. It was the tip of the iceberg. Over the next week, the deluge arrived. Credit card statements, loan applications, collections notices, a high-limit platinum card from a department store where my sister, Bianca, shopped religiously, a personal loan for a small business venture, Bianca's latest pyramid scheme, an unpaid lease for a luxury SUV registered to my name at her address. The total, $78,432.19. The signature on every document was a clumsy forgery of mine. The social security number was mine. The life she'd funded with my identity was Bianca's, flashy, unsustainable, and utterly parasitic. My hands shook as I dialed her. Bianca, the sofa, the car, the loans, what have you done? Her laugh was light, breezy, as if I'd asked about the weather. Oh, that. Don't be so dramatic, Chloe. I was in a bind. You have better credit. I'll pay it back. You stole my identity. You've ruined my credit. This is a felony. You're so sensitive. Look, just call the banks. Tell them it was a mistake between sisters. They'll understand. Gotta run. She hung up. The casualness was more devastating than the debt. It was a testament to a lifetime of precedent. Bianca took, I bore the consequences, and our parents smoothed it over. Our parents. I drove to their immaculate suburban home, the folders of damning evidence in my lap. My mother, Carol, made tea, while my father, Richard, sat in his leather armchair, the judge of all family disputes. I laid it out, the statements, the forged signatures, the staggering total. She has to fix this. She has to confess to the banks, take on the debt, and I'm filing a police report to clear my name. My father sighed, the long-suffering sound I knew well. Chloe, is that necessary? A police report? Think of the scandal. Scandal? She committed a crime against me. My mother placed a teacup in front of me, her voice placating. Honey, she's your sister. She's impulsive. She didn't mean to hurt you. She's just bad with money. This isn't being bad with money, Mom. This is fraud, identity theft. She's a criminal. Don't call your sister a criminal, my father snapped. We'll talk to her. We'll make a plan to pay it back. Slowly, as a family. As a family? My voice broke. I didn't run up this debt. Why should I pay for it even slowly? My credit is destroyed. I can't rent an apartment, get a car loan, nothing. You're overreacting, my mother said, patting my hand. We'll help you. Just forgive her. She's family. Family doesn't send family to jail. The old mantra, family, a holy word they used as a shield for Bianca and a cage for me. Forgiving Bianca's schoolyard bullies, her stolen prom dress, her wrecked car she'd taken without permission, it had always been my job to be the bigger person. But this wasn't a stolen sweater. This was my financial future, my name, my safety. I looked at their pleading, anxious faces. They weren't worried about me. They were worried about the family image, about Bianca's comfort. My pain was an inconvenience to be managed. In that moment, something in me, something that had bent for years under the weight of their skewed loyalty, finally snapped. I stood up, gathering my folders. No. No what? My father asked, frowning. No, I won't forgive her. No, you won't talk to her. No, we won't handle it as a family. I met his eyes, my own dry and steady. I'm going to the police. Today. My mother's teacup clattered in its saucer. Chloe, don't you dare. You'll ruin her life. She, I said, my voice trembling with a new, cold power, is trying to ruin mine. I walked out, their shouts following me into the quiet street. The gulf between us had become an ocean, and I was on the other side, alone, holding proof of my sister's betrayal and my parents' complicity. At the police station, the officer was grimly efficient. This is a serious case. We'll need all this. She'll be charged. Are you prepared for that? It can get messy with family. I thought of my mother's tearful plea, my father's disappointed sigh. I handed over the folders. I'm prepared.
The weeks that followed were a cold war. My parents bombarded me with calls and texts, alternating between threats and desperate pleas. Drop the charges. We'll pay everything. How can you do this to us? You're tearing this family apart. I blocked their numbers. The only communication was through my victim's advocate. Bianca was arrested, released on bail paid by my parents. I moved, using a friend's address, terrified she or my enraged parents would show up at my door. The arraignment date arrived. The courthouse was a monument to grim reality. I sat in the hard wooden bench of the victims section, my advocate, a no-nonsense woman named Maria, beside me. My stomach was a knot of ice. Then the doors opened. My parents walked in, arms linked, faces set in identical masks of righteous indignation. They didn't look at me. They took seats directly behind the defense table, where Bianca sat with a public defender, looking pale and unusually small in an ill-fitting blazer. Their alignment was physical, undeniable. They were there for her, against me. The judge, a woman with sharp eyes and silver hair, called the case. The People versus Bianca Ellis. Charges: aggravated identity theft, grand larceny, multiple counts of forgery. As the prosecutor outlined the charges, my mother began to weep quietly, not for me, the victim, but for Bianca, the perpetrator. My father put a protective arm around her shoulders, glaring at the back of my head. Then the defense attorney stood. "Your Honor, my client comes from a close-knit family. This is a tragic misunderstanding. The alleged victim is her sister. The parents are here today to speak to the family's desire to handle this privately." The judge peered over her glasses. "Are the parents of both the defendant and the alleged victim present?" My father stood, clearing his throat. "Yes, Your Honor. Richard and Carol Ellis. We are here to support our daughter Bianca. We believe this is a family matter that has been tragically escalated by our other daughter's overreaction. We urge the court to consider restorative justice, not punishment. We are willing to make full restitution." He spoke as if I were a petulant child who'd called the cops over a squabble, not a victim of a serious crime. The betrayal was a physical ache in my chest. The judge's expression was unreadable. "Mr. Ellis, you understand you are in a court of law, not a family therapy session. These are felony charges." "Yes, Your Honor, but she's family," my mother blurted out, her voice trembling. "Chloe is destroying her sister's life over money." "Over $78,000 of fraudulently obtained debt," the judge corrected dryly. Then she turned her gaze to me. "Miss Ellis, the victim, you've heard your parents' stance. Do you wish to pursue these charges?" Every eye in the courtroom was on me. My parents' stares were daggers. Bianca looked at me with a mixture of fear and venom. Maria gave my arm a subtle nod of encouragement. I stood, my legs shaky but my voice clear. "Yes, Your Honor, I want justice, not family mediation." The judge nodded. Then she looked back at my parents, her head tilted. She asked a single question, her tone deceptively soft. "Mr. and Mrs. Ellis, a question. Of your two daughters here today, one who meticulously stole, forged, and defrauded, and one who followed the law to protect herself, which one in this moment truly needs your support?" The air rushed out of the room. My mother's quiet weeping stopped. Her face, streaked with mascara, crumpled into a mask of stunned, profound shame. The truth of the question, a truth she'd spent a lifetime avoiding, hit her with the force of a physical blow. Her hand flew to her mouth and a raw, choked sob escaped. She wasn't crying for Bianca anymore. She was crying for the devastating clarity of her own failure. My father's arm dropped from her shoulders. He opened his mouth, then closed it, his righteous bluster completely deflated. He looked from Bianca, the architect of this disaster, to me, the daughter he'd come to condemn, and for the first time I saw confusion, a crack in the foundation of his biased world. The judge let the silence hang, In the weeks that followed the arraignment, a strange, strained silence fell. The police report and the judge's piercing question had created a fork in the road my family could not ignore. Bianca, faced with the stark reality of prison time, took a plea deal. She was sentenced to 5 years probation, ordered to complete 500 hours of community service, and mandated to attend financial responsibility and ethics courses. Most importantly, the judgment included a full restitution order, legally enforceable, not a family plan. Every cent of the $78,432.19 plus penalties was to be repaid to the creditors and to me for legal fees, garnished from any future wages. My parents paid her initial restitution to secure the plea deal, draining a significant portion of their retirement savings. It was the first real consequence Bianca had ever faced that they had to feel. They did not contact me. The shame from the courtroom was a wall between us. I heard through my aunt that my mother had fallen into a deep depression, unable to reconcile the golden child she'd coddled with the felon she'd defended, nor the overreacting daughter with the victim she'd failed. I focused on rebuilding. With the police report and court order, I worked with the credit bureaus to painstakingly remove the fraudulent accounts from my name. It was a long, bureaucratic slog, but every cleared report felt like reclaiming a piece of my stolen self. I used the small restitution payments for legal fees to take a course in cybersecurity, a field that now held a painfully personal relevance. I got a new job at a university library with better pay and security. A year after the arraignment, a letter arrived, forwarded by my advocate. It was from my father, typed on his old stationery. Chloe, we are selling the house, moving to a smaller place. The financial and emotional cost has been high. The judge's question that day, it haunts your mother, it haunts me. We have asked ourselves 1,000 times, and the answer is always the same, and it shames us. We were wrong. Not just about this, but about a lifetime of scales we failed to balance. We supported the one who made the most noise, who demanded the most, thinking it was love. We now see it was enabling. We failed you, profoundly. We do not expect your forgiveness. We have not earned it, but we wanted you to know that we see you now. We see your strength, your integrity, and we are sorry. So desperately sorry. Dad. I read it 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer. The apology was necessary, but it couldn't rebuild what was broken. The trust was gone. The idea of family as a safe harbor was gone. What remained was a biological fact and a cautionary tale. I have a new family now, chosen family, friends who became sisters, mentors who became guides. I am careful with my documents, vigilant with my credit, boundaries firm around my heart. Sometimes I think of that courtroom. The judge didn't give me back my $78,000 that day. She gave me something more valuable, validation. She publicly named the truth my family had spent a lifetime denying. She handed me a mirror and made my parents look into it. My sister stole my identity to buy a life she couldn't afford. My parents tried to steal my justice to preserve a peace I never enjoyed. In the end, the only thing that couldn't be stolen was my voice, and when I used it in a police report in a courtroom, it asked a question that finally broke the cycle. The debt is being repaid month by month, the credit is being repaired point by point, but the real restitution was that single, devastating question from the bench, which finally forced the people who were supposed to protect me to see the thief they'd been sheltering all along.